What's the delay? There's a delay from that to that?
No, that's the chair.
Do they hear what's coming out of your stomach?
That's the chair.
Well,
It's too quiet in here.
I hope it's the chair.
You'll know it.
It's the stomach.
Yeah,
I think. Did you eat lunch?
I did. I ate a great lunch.
Oh, I have not had lunch.
Oh,
Yeah. Here it is. It's 2:00.
wow.
Yep.
Did you wake up at 10
No. Actually, at 6:25
this morning?
this morning. I had to go wake up. I wake up early because Sandra and I went and picked up the grandkids, took Parker to school, and
Yeah.
brought the granddaughter home, and so had an early day.
Okay.
Took a friend to the airport today. And they were flying out to North Carolina for the week, and
North Carolina.
then I came to our international studio
That's right.
right here in Baton Rouge.
That's right.
There are not many international studios in Baton Rouge, but we've got one.
Not that I know of. This is the only one that I know
This
of.
is actually the only one I know of.
Yep.
Also,
We actually touched the four corners of the world.
Talk about four corners. I'm sorry I touched this corner. I am sorry I touched this corner. Last weekend, my wife and I, and my daughter and son-in-law, and all our grandkids, we flew up to Detroit.
Michigan.
Detroit, Michigan.
8 Mile. Home of Eminem.
Home of Eminem, and
I don't know.
and
If that's really his
and
home.
Hardcore Porn. Hardcore Porn.
Hardcore
When that show first came out, I never could
Hardcore
say
what?
Hardcore Porn. When the show first came out, I was saying hardcore porn. I couldn't get it. I couldn't say it. Hardcore porn.
And you're
Hardcore
like,
porn.
I love this
Hardcore-
new show I've been watching.
I've been watching this new show, but it's
people
not
would
what the
ask
title
you.
says it is. It's hardcore porn, and I still can't really say it. I kind of move on.
lost on
I
the
just move
accent.
on. And
That's okay.
it's on the 8 Mile, I think. And I keep telling Tony, who is from Michigan, my son-in-law.
Man, that's the place. Is that the show where they get in fights about?
Everything.
Okay, I think I've seen it.
Anything and everything. They don't have. I don't think they've had that show on for a few years now, but
Yeah.
it was kind of fun to watch.
The
Because
guy had like slick back hair and he
Yeah.
had little glasses.
Yeah.
Okay, I remember that. I did.
I don't
watch
remember
that.
his name, but
Wow.
anyway, I watched that only because of the fact it was just kind of funny.
Yeah.
And
Oh, I'm a sucker for those kind of shows.
yeah, and I've always told Tony since he's been down here and married to my daughter, I said, you got to take me on the 8 Mile. He said, no, you don't need to see the 8 Mile. Well, anyway, we went to Detroit from a Thursday to a Sunday evening.
Okay.
And the governor in Michigan apparently has everyone scared to death.
Yeah.
Scared to death.
Well, I told you that she was gonna put you in a nursing home and give you COVID,
They did everything.
and then
they
have a
could.
young guy beat you up.
We say that's our middle-aged guy beat me up.
Yeah, Because that's actually happened.
I know. I'm worried about that when I get older. If Holly puts me in
Oh
the
yeah.
home.
No. Like, but that scenario actually happened in
In
Michigan.
Detroit?
In Michigan. I'm not sure. Whitlock, is that her name?
Whitmore,
Whitmore.
I think her name is.
Whitmore. Yeah. Supposedly. Yeah. Again, check it out. But from what I've heard, they have had the worst response, if you can call a response to a virus. I don't know. But if you know that it harms elderly people and you create a law that forces nursing homes to accept COVID patients, even that aren't elderly, then you end up with a scenario of a guy getting beat up by a younger guy in there who was COVID positive.
So she did a similar policy like Cuomo did in New York. Well, what an idiot. When we landed in Detroit, around noon on Thursday, and of course we were wearing a mask. Everybody's wearing a mask, and they made sure you wore a mask in the airport and on the airplane the whole time. It's a direct flight from New Orleans to Detroit, a little over 2 hours, keeping the mask on, and then keeping the mask on when you got to the airport. And when we left the airport, I rented a vehicle for us all to fit in, and we drove to the hotel, which was in downtown Detroit, and it was a nice hotel. It was the Athenian Athenian Hotel. It's a suites hotel. It was really nice. However, they are, if you walk in, if your mask is just slightly lower than what they like, they really get on you about raise the mask up over your nose and they made sure you had the mask, and all the restaurants in the hotel were closed. You couldn't eat out. You could only we had room service for breakfast, lunch, and if we had to have a dinner, because all the restaurants were shut down. And ghost town, Detroit. I've never been before. I always assumed it was a huge place, and it was just jammed with people. It was a ghost town.
Yeah.
It was a ghost town. It looked worse than downtown Baton Rouge at nighttime. There was nobody out there.
Yeah. Well, Baton Rouge is coming back nighttime. I was just down there
Really?
last weekend. I'll tell you about that after.
Oh well, yeah. Because I'm surprised you didn't get shot.
Well-
And that's the other thing. Going to Detroit, I think, well, murder capital maybe of the world, COVID capital of the world. I really didn't want to go, but it was my son-in-law's
Most of those times, the shootings,
sister.
they're not going to just randomly shoot some white guy from Baton Rouge walking down Detroit or in Baton Rouge. Chances are, usually they know each other.
Well, yeah.
You know, I would
And
say
plus it was
if
cold.
If you're an odds man, if you're playing the
Well,
odds.
I am not an odd man, and you are not an odd man.
No, but if you're playing the odds.
Oh, you're playing the odds.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you
You're
said,
like, I'll go because I went running around downtown Dallas by myself.
that was just a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
I know, and you didn't catch COVID.
No,
And the restaurants were open.
all of them.
Did I tell you they were not open in Detroit?
Yeah.
They're mostly
And
they.
you know that. So
It's
you
bad.
got a window into communist China.
I had a window into communist China, North Korea, Russia, China, you name it. I saw communist Venezuela, Cuba,
Yeah.
all in little Detroit.
where the government tells you what to do and you listen.
And you listen to it. Those people were brainwashed.
That's crazy. That's a whole city.
It was a whole state.
The whole state.
The whole state. I was really. They did everything they could to make this young lady's wedding impossible, and they worked very hard to have the wedding ceremony, and to have the reception. They had to have the reception outside because of COVID, and they had a beautiful wedding, absolutely stellar wedding, and had a lot of people.
So,
But Detroit and Michigan itself
yeah.
locked up like a bug in a rug. The Sunday when we were flying out, I told Tony, I said, look, we got time. Show me some things around Detroit. And so Sunday afternoon, nobody on the highways. On the interstate highway, it was like clear sailing.
Yeah.
And we finally were driving around, saw the Ford
The empty Ford plant.
plant.
Is it
Because they
empty?
can't build cars right now because they don't have the chips to go in the cars. And while we were out, Holly found this restaurant called the Ford Garage, and it was open. And it was.
How was it open?
I don't know how they opened, but they were open, and they were jam packed.
I guess if they're the only restaurant open
They were the only one we found
in
open.
Michigan.
and it was really nice. It was a nice restaurant.
Was it in the city or was it like in the
No,
outskirts?
it was in the outskirts.
You know what?
Probably
Here's-
around Dearborn.
Here's what I find: the rural areas have a little more common sense than the
Then the
city
inbred.
city areas.
Well, don't go.
I found that just here and around Baton Rouge because we live on the outskirts, and life as you know it has been pretty normal for the last year. But the closer you creep into the city limits, the more everybody starts
weird
to get.
it gets.
Yeah, and I mean, from a almost from a logical standpoint, like the mask, for instance. Now, when you have a more dense population, I get the mask if somebody has symptoms and they're sick. I don't get the mask for the asymptomatic because there's been conflicting. I'm not going to get into this because I'm not a doctor, and all I'm doing is
But you could play one on
blow-
YouTube.
No, because they'll kick you off. Well, if enough people listen to us, they would. They kick off real doctors. They're not definitely going to kick off a fake doctor. And I don't even call myself a doctor. I'm just saying, if I just have to have an opinion that's different than the preferred opinions of the preferred doctors for the preferred movement, just say it like that.
Well, you know, it's funny you talk about that because I just heard that there was a group, some group that contacted the administration saying that they wanted the administration to establish some type of task force to grade the opinions of people that are put their message out on YouTube
The
or
thought police.
kind of a big thought police type of thing.
Yeah.
And I said,
You know how crazy that is?
It's-
But you know how that is coming.
Well,
That is coming to
it occurred in
to a
Germany in the 30s.
brain near
It
you.
occurred in Germany in the 30s. It happened in the Soviet Union. It happened in Cuba. It happened in Venezuela. Venezuela didn't vote for socialism. They voted for the people that made socialism occur. And those people were voted in as president and legislators in Venezuela. And then they put the programs in place that created the socialist state that they became and destroyed the nation.
That's true.
They
And
were
look,
one of the they were a rich nation. Now you can't buy bread down there.
So the plan is to do things like this where we can sit down and talk. We could even have somebody on here that had differing views, and we would be able to talk.
We'd be able to
But the
talk.
thing is whenever you start to force things through government, some people think that's a good idea. And there's people that died for this to not
who we are,
to not be a good idea. I mean, yeah.
to be free.
Right.
Our inalienable rights, those things that are actually given to us by God, not by government.
Yeah, but that's all, I mean, to them, that's all on a piece of paper, and it doesn't mean jack squat whenever you're worried about someone's safety.
Well, that's the problem. It's the squatting.
You can't worry about safety. Safety's like not the last thing, but safety's one of those things where you're not guaranteed by God's safety.
No.
You're not guaranteed. I mean, they set up the government to have police and military to try to keep the citizenry safe, but inside the citizenry, I mean, we got police because you have to have some rule of law.
We have, like, for example, we have the right to pursue happiness.
Yeah.
We don't have a right to happiness, but we have a right to pursue happiness.
Own property too. That's a big one.
Well, that is a big one.
It
It
is.
is, and
Because I don't know about. They got a new show on HGTV. I didn't even know that was still on, but where was I? I was somewhere there. I was watching this show, and there was a very colorful person in the United States who has a friend across the ditch in England, and he's also a very colorful person. And he goes and he will. It's kind of like House Hunters. You know that show House Hunters? You ever heard of that?
I've heard of it.
So they go and this House Hunters, they basically would go and look at 3 homes, and then they would decide which house they like best, and then they would get that house. And it's just all just stretched out and over dramatic. So anyway, in England,
They're buying homes in the United States and are
no. This guy's going around to couples in England, and usually, well, the only one I saw, he had gone into this apartment, and it was this couple in this apartment, and they won this post office lottery or something like that.
Mm.
So it's like they won the lot, like the Publishers Clearinghouse or whatever. So they won.
So they want some money.
Yeah, and it wasn't it wasn't like $1 million or something, but it was enough for them to try to look for a new home and to get out of the apartment. And so they're always trying to but the only way they were able to do that was because they won that lottery. I didn't look into it enough, but I'm sitting there watching it and I'm just like, so they didn't work, save, scrape by, do without,
It just happened.
all the things, like they just won a lottery. And so now they get to go choose their dream home, but it wasn't even really their dream home. It was like
It was a step up from where they were.
a modest home in England, which it's not real. I don't know. I think Americans are so they're just we're so spoiled to how much we have in a way. Because when I saw that, I was like, oh, they still got a.
Like, I bet they didn't have a dishwasher.
Well, they don't have ice. Nobody's got ice over there.
They don't. No ice.
Well, I mean, you can freeze it if you needed it, but like,
but they just don't have that on their
yeah,
list.
well, they just don't drink cold things. I guess maybe
that's-
it's not
well,
that
that's-
important. I don't like iced tea.
I need cold things.
We got
You need ice if you hurt yourself.
Yeah.
I get hurt a lot, so I have ice packs all over the
Yeah.
place.
Huh.
It's
Well.
that's.
Anyway,
I can't imagine not having ice. I can't imagine not having a garbage disposal. I love having a garbage disposal in the sink.
Huh.
You know,
that's a good one. Do you put everything down the garbage disposal?
no,
Or
no,
okay,
because
it'll
it'll clog up, and
man, you got to teach that to people.
it's garbage. So,
I've had to unclog a couple of those.
really,
Chili's not a good thing to put down the garbage disposal. Anyway, what about so the wedding was perfect?
the wedding was perfect.
Everybody
It was
said
beautiful.
yes?
Everybody said yes. They, as I say, they had a lot of people there. And what was interesting is
So was everybody 6 feet apart?
no, in the church, no, and they had a beautiful Catholic service.
So was everybody wearing masks in the church?
No, matter of fact, Sandra and I we wore our masks because
No.
we were
Think
you know,
about
trying-
that logically.
But
now,
but
I'm just saying,
we looked
follow
out.
that thought.
There were probably 300 people in this church service. I looked back, and I saw a sea of face. I didn't
Yeah.
see any, and I was really surprised.
Yeah.
Because Sandra and I, we dutifully, because we were in Michigan and we're told you better not walk around, we wore our mask. And I have to say that the people that were in church kind of looked at us for wearing the mask.
I think I find that you would. I'm surprised by that.
I was totally surprised.
I feel like no. I feel like you would be more of a buck the system kind of guy.
Oh, you talking about me doing?
Yeah.
What? No,
I'm
no,
surprised.
no. What?
Miss Sandra was there.
No, no.
True
Sandra and I were
colors.
sitting right there. But the reality was, we had heard so much about the fact that Detroit and Michigan were so enveloped in this massive COVID infection that just stepping off an airplane, you were going to get COVID. So we said, well, all right, we'll keep the mask on like the governor says she wants us to. And so we were just following protocol.
But you know that most of the people that got it wore a mask.
Well, but I got the vaccines, and I have vaccine and mask. But I say I'm not wearing a mask now. I didn't wear a mask yesterday in church.
Good.
But
I think that's important. That people see the
my face.
smiling faces.
I joked. I said, the day that the mandate ends and we don't have to wear masks, I'm worried I won't be able to recognize anybody because they're not behind a mask.
Yeah.
So
Man, I bet you know who's really upset about the mask? Orthodontists. They're not gonna have to. People aren't gonna be like really worried about their teeth as much. Maybe they're the ones.
I've never really since COVID has hit. I've never thought about the impact on orthodontics. And
Got to think about that stuff.
but actually,
there's ramifications for every decision.
there is. But if you look on the bright side, you could wear the braces and get the correction that you require, and no one would even know that you were wearing the braces.
Yeah.
And by the time you take the mask off, the braces are off. Your teeth are looking like
Yeah.
sparklies. And
I was thinking of it on the other day. I was having some deep thoughts about that and
were
wondering.
you here at work?
No, I don't know where I was. I was thinking about the thoughts. I didn't think about where I was. But anyway, so my thought was, is this something where people would feel a sense of safety because they're hiding behind a mask and they're not I don't know. There's just like this psychiatric.
They can hide
Part
their
of it. They
personality
can just
behind the
kinda-
mask
Yeah, they can hide. Well,
because they don't want to talk to people. They don't want to smile at people.
They don't want to talk to people. They don't want to smile at people. They don't hardly want to make eye contact with people most of the time in a pre-mask society. And that comes from just because I like to look at people in the eye. I like to say hello. I like to engage with people. And
Well,
then like you can see when people just kind of look down.
I like to engage. I like to converse with people. I like to smile at people.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about wearing the mask is I'm always smiling at folks, but do they know? Can
No.
they tell with my eyes?
And do you know
that I'm smiling?
Yeah, and that's probably got to be a good thing for people to feel someone smiling at them.
Yeah, I would think so.
I'm telling you, man, this mask thing.
It's
I just don't. I haven't bought into it. I did.
I do
did
have a
in the
stash of
beginning.
masks.
Who?
I have a stash of masks.
Oh, I bet.
I have a lot of masks.
Yeah, you know who really likes the mask? People that make masks. They love it. And you know who makes a lot of masks?
China.
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 China. Chicom.
Oh, how you like Biden comes in, he wants to remove all the soldiers out of the military out of Afghanistan by September 11th. I think he said September 8th, actually, but by September 11th, for sure.
Like, yeah.
Let's go ahead and announce to the world, yeah, we're going to get out now. Well, if you want to cause trouble, just wait till September 9th.
Yeah.
And when the Americans are gone, then you can go do your thing.
Do you know Biden played frisbee golf too? And
Recently?
I don't know how recent it was, but he also on that one, he had an 18 also.
He shot an 18 out of 18 holes?
He did. He
Wow,
he
man.
drained it
He
every
can-
single time.
That is odd.
He
is beyond everything anyone would expect.
yeah.
And
if he could fly,
Well, he can't get up.
that's the only thing that he can't do.
He can't even go
I
up
don't
the
think he
stairs
can
to the
fly.
airplane. So
He hovered above those stairs.
I don't know. That last one, I think he hit his shins pretty good because he rubbed his
I
shins.
think he broke his knee and his wrist.
I think that was oh my God. And the State of the Union message. Oh my Lord.
How much communism can you get
In 1 hour, how much communism can you put into one program?
I mean, we're laughing, but this is going to get played at our trial.
You mean our execution?
Oh Lord!
And talk about money like it just grows off the trees. 2 trillion for this, 2 trillion for that, 2 trillion for the $6 trillion in that hour conversation, as if it was just growing off of trees. And I'm thinking
It's growing out of a printing press.
it's growing out of a printing press. Inflation would be out of the wazoo.
Well, so this morning, did you hear that there's inflation already?
No, I hadn't heard.
Oh, Warren Buffett came out saying that they were going to raise all the prices of their goods and services.
They have to.
But he's like, it's going to be fine. Everybody's got plenty of money to
Yeah.
pay for it. That's what I heard.
and-
Again, that sounds
Communistic. And raising the corporate income tax rate that we will be, if they raise it to the level that Joe wants, it'll be the highest corporate income tax rate in the world.
so. All that stuff, all the things that he talked about that night, those all have to be passed through the House and Senate and then signed into law. Like he can't do any of that through executive action.
No,
So
you can't raise a
the
tax.
shining light of that is hopefully
Nancy Pelosi.
Well, she's not.
She's no shining light.
No, but she's not the. I mean, she's not. She doesn't have majority rule in the.
Well,
yes, it does look pretty bad. Never mind. I was trying to be
I think they can do anything they want in the
Optimistic.
House because they still have about a 5 or
yeah.
6 seat majority in the House.
In the Senate,
In the
though,
Senate, they're tied.
it's tight.
But you do have some realists in the Senate on the Democrat side, like Joe Manchin, and there are a couple of others. They try to talk down the middle, but most of the time they always vote with the Democrats. But I'm thinking that some of this Democratic stuff is so out of the ordinary that even Joe Manchin would have to say, guys, I can't vote for that. that is just
That's
that's communistic. And I heard that he was certainly not supporting Washington D.C. becoming a separate state.
No.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't think that, I don't know.
The founders basically created Washington, the District of Columbia, to be a separate entity so that it would not be impacted by.
Yeah, but that's been like that's been the socialist think tank.
It's a socialist agenda right now because they think if they can get 51 states.
Oh no, DC has just been like kind of like their think tank. Like that city, or most cities, most democratic cities that are run by democratic mayors and such, they're all working out their theories of socialism and communism and
How can they make it?
Yeah,
how can they make it happen right there?
right. And that's where it's like none of them have really done a good job. What did I hear the other day? That if you throw money at it, so DC and Detroit should have the best performing public schools because of how much money has been thrown at it.
I can believe that. Chicago, Los Angeles,
But they don't.
New York. No, their school systems that their whole states are.
Yeah. Well, and some of those things is
California lost population. I thought that's pretty cool.
talking about. Well, I mean, yeah, but there's got to be that more of that return to the family.
Well, what needs to happen is those people left California because California is just a horrendous state to live in for tax purposes and moral purposes, whatever you leave California for. If you go into another state, don't start voting the way people did in California to get California to the position it is.
Yeah. Well, they'll water it down.
They'll bring back.
Maybe they'll water it down.
They'll
But everybody,
California to Iowa.
they start making. You start making. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know. I digress.
It's a good digression. But I hate to use the term, but I'm going to use it.
Oh,
President Biden,
You could do the former vice president.
the former vice president. I like that. That sounds better.
That was a funny one.
So the former vice president talked about he's only going to raise taxes on people that make $400,000 or more. Those people that make $400,000 or more are running companies, and those companies, when they are taxed at a higher level, are going to pass those taxes down through cost of a product to the people that buy it. And the people that buy it are going to be all the 99% that they're talking about that make less than $400,000.
Yeah, but all those people are going to be getting checks to pay for their more expensive products. It works.
I forgot. You're
What did
right.
I say?
The government will provide a monthly stipend
Yep.
for everyone, the 99%ers,
Yep.
so that they
As
can.
they say, it comes out in the wash.
It'll be washed all right.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, you just don't get your freedoms. You'll have everything taken care of. You won't have to worry about health care. You won't have to worry about clothes and schooling. You don't have to worry about anything. So if you don't have to worry about anything, just think about how creative you could be.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming
It's
from.
a big load of cow poop.
It is a big load of capital because healthcare. I don't want the government to tell me what doctor I have.
Why?
I want my doctor,
But they're all going to be educated the same way through government.
and that should scare you because I don't want them to take out my gallbladder.
After this whole pandemic thing, every doctor scares me because they just some of them don't think.
I haven't worried about all doctors. I love all doctors. I've just been worried about people like Dr. Fauci, the latest director of the CDC.
Well, that's the thing. Just because you put an MD behind your name doesn't mean that you get to choose. Do you get to choose everything for the whole population? Like, that's what.
I just saw something on the internet that I'm gonna have to do it. I'm gonna have to do it. You could purchase a square foot of land in Scotland for like, I don't know, $40, $50.
1 square foot.
1 square foot, and you receive a lordship. And then you would have to address me as Lord Kip Shuford. And that's the only way I would respond. If you called me Kip Shuford and I had my lordship,
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Lord Kip.
I
You would turn your nose.
I would automatically be put in the making $400,000 and plus level because I have a lordship. So
Yeah, I wouldn't do that now. I wouldn't tell anybody about it.
well, I'm not going to tell my closest friends.
You just told.
Well, I don't have it yet. It's not like I have
You
it.
just told the four corners of the world.
well, I'm pondering. I thought that was kind of funny. It was by a square foot of Scotland.
Look, I'm selling balloons full of magic air. If you'd like.
Are you doing that helium again so everyone sounds funny?
No. I'm just selling these balloons. It's just magic air. But you can't. You gotta. It's only $1. That's it. But then once you buy that,
I don't know. I think they've been doing it for 50 years. That star registry.
where you register,
Where
a
you
star
register
under your name?
under your name, and the thing is, they register stars that you can't see. Well, how do I know it's up there? They give you a map, and I guess you have to have a really good telescope.
Man,
And you've got to. And so I've always wondered about buying a star like that. Why would you do that?
I bet you the people that buy those wear 2 masks.
Probably right. Oh, buying a crater on the far side of the moon. How do you know that you're getting that crater and nobody else is?
Same people.
And if you never see that crater, how do you know it exists?
They walk around. You see them every day. You can walk outside right now and see somebody walk around with a mask.
Those are the three
They've
masters,
probably
right?
got a star
And
they
a
probably
crater.
have a crater. And you could go up and ask them, but they won't look at you.
They won't look at
talk
you,
to
and they
Yeah.
certainly won't talk to you.
No.
And that's. Are you shaking hands with people yet?
I've never stopped. Is it? There's a lot of people that don't. I wash my hands a lot for work, and I'm not a germaphobe, but I do notice if somebody reaching out trying to get one deep and then tries to touch some, I notice more people picking their nose at the grocery store and then touching the cart. So
I had to go to the grocery store following this
Yeah.
production.
Well,
now I can't go.
No. It's literally okay for you to go and then actually touch that, but just remember, don't try to pick out your lunch with your fingernail after you've touched the grocery cart, because there's if you think of things.
Man, have you taken this in a?
Well, I'm just saying, that's where it's like.
You put the Kip and Rush show on a baser side of life.
No, I'm trying to bring it back to 7th grade science to get all you knuckleheads to stop freaking out about everything, because there's there's some legitimate fears. Like, for instance, Cade, my oldest, was telling me they were having this discussion in ELA, and it was about the Black Plague and how they were able to tamp that down was from self-isolation. There's another word for it. What's the fluff word for it? There's a word. What have I been saying? Oh, lockdowns. Yeah. I just call that isolation. Your isolation chamber, because they were able to tamp it down like that. And I was telling them that I got it. I understood. Now this is 6th grade, so I'm just like, well, look, now think about this, because you're comparing the bubonic plague to COVID-19, and there is completely no. I mean, maybe airborne, possibly. That's the only thing you can kind of do the same thing.
Actually, it's flea-borne.
Right, and so so it was fluid. It was fluid based, or
Some flea would get there and bite you.
yeah, or people swap it. But I was telling him back then, your bathroom was just a hole that went out into the street. Things were not clean.
That's true.
I mean, so you can't, and there's all this comparison of things like that. And so you got to think about things in context. And I think things get taken out of context. And I've had people tell me that, okay, so what if you're on a plane and somebody's got it? I can kind of see people wearing a mask on a plane. But with the recycled air too, I kind of get that. But before this hysteria, we didn't wear a mask on plane. even with the flu, tuberculosis, lots of really horrible
things,
diseases. So anyway,
you reminded me of something, and it goes back to smelly pots.
who?
Versailles. When Louis XIV built Versailles,
Smelly pots.
the hygiene was not high on the list of for the day, and Versailles, the Palace of Versailles. If you look at it today, you see it today. It's magnificent. It's gorgeous, but back in those days, the late 1600s, the last half of the 1600s and early part of the 1700s, people just went to the bathroom right there. You could be talking to somebody, and they would go to the bathroom right there. And
It's kind of like an LSU tailgate.
it's like an LSU tailgate, but it was on the inside.
Oh,
And so the
yeah, you can't do that in
Versailles
the stadium.
smelled to high heaven. It smelled like a sewer.
Ah.
And that's in the Hall of Mirrors, which is a magnificent place if you see it today.
So you can't go to the bathroom anymore in there.
They would have
Pots. Smelly pots.
in the corner where men could go to. Women, they had those beautiful long dresses. They could be talking to each other, and they would relieve themselves.
Just mid-sentence.
They would void while they're talking to whoever, and then they would just walk on, and then their long dresses would get.
You see how
It was a terrible.
how different society is now.
Yeah, thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God. And that was the upper crust of society in that day. And here they were defecating and voiding in front of each other in this room and acting like it wasn't any big thing. And but
That is amazing.
It's unbelievable.
I've learned something horribly gross and new today.
Unfortunately, but thank goodness through modern technology and you can walk through Versailles now and not worry about someone.
Well, now you can. Now we have treatment facilities that extract all of the negative things out of the
water
waste that we have and then dump it back into our rivers.
Dump back into the Mississippi River so they can drink it in New Orleans.
Is that what's wrong with New Orleans?
Historically, that's what's happened in New Orleans.
I bet. So that's what. Well, I've heard people say that New Orleans is the butthole of the country. It's kind of like the Mississippi.
I've never heard that, but
I heard it. Don't kill the messenger. Just saying, don't shoot the messenger. Somebody told me that.
The people in New Orleans are going to come shoot us.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. I'm not from these parts.
Oh yeah, you just came from the other side of the state.
Yeah, Southwest.
What they say about your hometown?
Ne'er-do-wells from New Orleans used to go out there to hide. That's pirates and other sketchy people of that time.
Yeah,
that's what I've heard.
I'm born, raised here in Baton Rouge, lived my entire life in Baton Rouge so far, and
I grew up in the pine trees over there.
Baton Rouge
Southwest.
Baton Rouge has changed in my 68 years. It's
68 years is kind of a little stretch.
A little bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
And,
A lot of time for change.
But I remember Baton Rouge in the 50s and the 60s. It was a very small place, maybe 60,000 people at the most.
Yeah.
And you pretty much knew everybody, even though that's a large number. People knew each other pretty well.
Yeah.
And
not anymore. They don't talk.
not anymore. They all wear masks and they don't want to look at each other.
I know.
And
So get out there and meet
kinda
somebody
sad.
and talk to somebody.
You and I are supposed to be the fruit of the Spirit.
Yeah.
We're supposed to hopefully live our lives in a way that might encourage other people to live their lives. So you and I hopefully are good examples for people.
I haven't always been a good fruit.
Oh, well, none of us are. We're all imperfect. And thank goodness for forgiveness.
Yeah, and I'm trying.
I try every day, every day. But it's one of those things that it's just it is frightening to consider how deeply turning to the right Joe Biden wants to take the country. However, I do think
To the toilet, to the right, to the
he wants to take it right to the toilet, to the left there.
Pretty much.
The toilet right there on the left.
Yeah.
Unlike that Creedence Clearwater song that had the bathroom on the right. There's a bathroom on the right. Don't get up tonight. You're bound to lose your life. There's a bathroom on the right.
Oh.
I listened to that song for years until I finally heard what he was actually saying. And
Bad moon. That's more of like what's coming.
and I'm not even going to tell you what
It's a
I
bad
thought when
moon
they.
all around.
I think it was in the 1970, 71. They came out with that song "I'm Your Venus."
Oh,
I'm not even going to tell you what I thought they were saying in that song.
I don't know. I don't want to know.
I was coming home from a Kiwanis meeting, like the Key Club.
Okay.
We went out to the Kiwanis Club that sponsored the Lehigh Key Club for lunch. And so I went out with a friend, and we had lunch, and it was always nice. And then we were returning back to school after the lunch, and the song came on, and I said, "Can you believe they had that on that song, 'I'm Your Venus'?" But I was saying the word that I thought it was.
Oh Lord.
And he says, "Kip, no, they're saying I'm your Venus."
Like the planet.
Oh.
Not the other P word.
Oh. And now I'm glad the guy told me.
Yeah, bad hearing back then.
I did. I couldn't help it. That's what I heard.
Huh.
And so that's the reason I kind of stick to Baroque music now, because there are no words.
And there's no money.
And there's no money. There's no money. And I'm playing my old bagpipes. I like playing my bagpipes.
Yeah.
I couldn't use my lips other than blowing into the bag.
Yeah.
So no singing.
Oh well.
Well, anyway, I do think that as believe it or not, the 2022 elections will start ramping up
Oh yeah.
as we get into the summer and the fall.
I can't wait.
And I think there's going to be a blowout.
I think so.
I think that there's going to be
I think there's a lot of people. I think there's even people on the left, which seems to be the loudest of the people, meaning that's who you hear from more. Even our local news and paper feels a little left leaning.
they go that
You
way.
know, but that's the thing. They frame conversations in a way to downgrade and generate the people on the right, and it's just the strangest thing. Like there's I don't know. It could be scary if you think about it for a long time, or you could, just boot up, as they say in Louisiana.
Boot up.
Boot up.
Hip boot, knee boot, any
then-
kind of boot.
Yeah, and just like, hey, this is you gotta push back, and you gotta do it, in a civil
You
way.
do it in a civil way. Have a conversation.
Right, because it's on the battlefront of ideas. Freedom will always win.
If you stand for it.
If you don't,
If you
then it's
don't,
gone.
you're going to get whipped up, because you're going to have people who, and I really do believe there's such a minority of radicals to the left, just as you have a minority of radicals on the right.
Completely.
They're just, but they get the most press because they're the loudest.
That's right.
And what those are a little bit center right and those are a little center left, need to recognize these radicals they're crazy.
That's it.
And just don't let them
Yeah.
get in our face
Let them be crazy,
Let 'em
but
be
you don't
crazy.
have to play along with their
with their
their craziness.
Yeah.
And I think I like the fact that you just said the word crazy, because you got to call crazy. when it's happening,
Oh, yeah.
you got to say like, no, that's nuts.
That's not. That's not the way it's supposed to be. It's not the way it is.
I mean,
It's not the way it's written in our Constitution, and we are not a socialist nation. Not based upon
not yet.
the outline of our institution, and which is the Constitution, and they just live by the Constitution, and
Yeah.
we'd all be much better. And instead of having the people like Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and their little diatribes that are so far to the left, all they're doing is to try and create themselves in a very powerful, nothing could ever change.
Yeah, we got to.
Position.
I think you got to look at it like this. I think they are just figureheads. There are people behind them. There's money behind them. There's and you gotta be open and transparent and try to find out who's Nancy Pelosi connected to. Why does she have so much pull?
Yeah.
And really dig. And I'm not saying like you do research and find, man, they had
She can't speak.
Antifa in Portland.
Yeah.
They posted the mayor who stood up for Antifa while they were burning it down back last year.
That's similar, yeah.
And they want him out of office and gave this really random threat, almost like there'll be blood in the streets and it may be yours.
Why he did something?
Well, they want him out of office. They don't want any government. That's an anarchist. They don't want. They want mob rule. But I don't know if they know really what they want because they hadn't really put anything forward. I guess of what they want other than anarchy.
I'd have the National Guard in there so fast that they clean that place up in about 30 minutes. That's what needs to be done.
But that's not what he did, and so he placated. Is that what you said?
Oh, that's a good word.
Placated to the mob in the beginning. Now the mob has turned on him, and they posted his voter registration and his address on the. Yeah, it's crazy. So now they're like, anyway.
He supports them, and then they want to put it to the guillotine. That's
Antoinette. Is that right?
Marie Antoinette and King Louis XVI.
Is that the let them eat cake? Is that part of the socialism?
She never really said that.
Right.
That was just bad press. It was kind of like the press they have today. That's what they did to them back then.
Oh, like saying Donald Trump incited a riot?
Yeah, exactly. Like Donald Trump was like.
Man, I gotta go pick up my kids.
Okay. We ought to go. How much time did we talk? Way too long. Probably about 48 minutes too long.
No, I think this is gonna be a
barn burner.
Yeah.
Oh, barn burner.
Burner.
Woo. You guys wait till we have our new international headquarters. It's coming in the
distant future.
No,
Close
it's
future.
Close future. And it's going to be awesome. It's going to be.
It's going to be
the tools that we have coming.
Spectacular.
You're not even going to recognize us.
No, and I know,
man, because they probably will have us kicked out
right
of the international headquarters, and they'll have to find somebody new. But that's all right.
We could go mobile.
We always have our mobile.
We did. I had to sell it. My truck's gone. We could find another place. We'll go somewhere.
Well, if we have to, we'll use my mobile international headquarters.
Yeah,
I have one, and matter of fact, just got washed this morning, so it's
clean.
Clean,
huh.
Guys. I hope y'all have a good week. Sorry we missed last week, but I was exhausted.
Yeah, that's okay.
It's my bad.
He was ducking bullets.
I was ducking bullets, and I was ducking COVID.
I was church with 300 people.
Well, I sat up in the front. I sat way up in the front.
All that stuff's going.
I was hoping that the wind from the air conditioner was blowing everything back. So
it's like a big COVID tornado.
I threw that mask away when we left that church. I said, throw this there. So I threw it away. I got a new mask. Then I got a new mask after the reception too.
Man,
Threw
you got
that
a
away.
lot of math. You're really keeping those
I am
children employed over there in China.
I'm keeping the slave labor in China working.
Oh man, maybe that's what we need to talk about.
3 cents an hour.
Labor.
No, they're probably making 3 cents a day.
Man, yeah. If everybody's worried about, never mind. I'm not even gonna say it. All right. Bye.
Love you.